Welcome back to Mrs. Orth's Flipped Classroom for Grammar, looking at the problems when doing subject-verb agreement when you have words between the subject and the verb. Let's revisit the definition of a prepositional phrase. This begins with a preposition and ends with a noun. This noun is called the object of the preposition. Please remember that the object of a preposition can never be the simple subject. Also, we should remember that a positive phrase is a phrase that restates or renames a noun or subject in a sentence. This may or may not be between commas. This isn't the simple subject. Especially if it's between commas, we should remember that our rule is we can take it out or remove it somewhere else in the sentence. We don't have to have it. Alright, steps. Number 1, hasn't changed, keeps steady. Always find the verb, all parts of it. Because you find one doesn't mean you're done. Especially in this chapter, you want to make sure you're finding the helping or auxiliary verbs. Find a simple subject next, asking who or what, followed by the verb. Again, watch that verb phrase, especially if you have forms of be or has or have in front of that first verb. That might be one to indicate whether or not it agrees with the simple subject. Remember to ignore all words between the simple subject and the verb. There's only one real exception we're going to deal with where you don't ignore that, and that will be dealt with in an upcoming lesson. First example, the parents of my student arrives at conferences. First, find the verb is arrives. Who or what arrives? Well, is it the student arrives or the parents arrive? What's the question of who's actually doing the one arriving? So in this case, the parents are the ones arriving. That's parents as a simple subject. Of my student, it's a prepositional phrase. And therefore we can simply cross it out or delete it. The parents arrives or the parents arrive at conferences. Because of that, since parents is plural, then the verb should be arrive, not arrives. Because again, we rarely have a simple subject that ends in S and a verb that ends in S. Next example. The book, a bestseller for 13 weeks, has become popular in 6 countries. So the verb is has become. What has become? Weeks haven't become, 13 hasn't become, a bestseller hasn't become, the book, in this case, has become. We can literally cross out everything between the commas and say the book has become popular in 6 countries. The bestseller for 13 weeks is actually an appositive, so it can't be a simple subject. Since book is singular, then the verb should remain has become. This takes a little more practice, especially if you're used to paying attention to the object of a preposition. For this lesson, practice crossing it out once you find it in order to make sure you're not going to get confused or distracted by that. Do the practice, ask for help. You got this. Good hunting.